internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is the Forge of Fury. Or rather, the Dawnbringers. The Forge of Fury, Season 3, Episode 12, These Hallowed Halls. We are returning once again for our usual every Thursday night at 8:30 Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/Mini Terrain Domain, where we like to play Dungeons and Dragons. And pardon me while I'm like reaching out and adjusting things because I forgot to pull the curtain. There we go. All right. So somehow, how did you guys get messed up again? Who turned off their camera?
Sorry, it was me. I did it by mistake.
No, I just suddenly looked up and I'm like, you're not in the right place. All right. So
Sorry about that.
Scotty, Ted, and Jeremy, turn your cameras off real quick.
You got it.
And we'll get this fixed. So it goes, actually, Scotty, you come in now.
Okay.
And then Jeremy. And then Ted. All right, now that everybody is in their proper place, we're going to start off with, as we usually do, a couple of announcements. First off, a shout out to What You Looking At for subscribing once again, returning for 15 months in a row, which, of course, the reason we mention it is our new domain die. Resubscriptions, of course, are also are worth domain dice. Domain dice, if you are not sure what they are, there is a little scrolly bit down at the bottom of the screen. You can see them up above my head here. Or you can type in domain dice in the chat commands, and all the rules are there. Domain dice are a way that we let you, the viewer, participate in our game. For every 500 bits or $5 donation plus raids and resubscriptions and subscriptions and things like that, the players will earn domain dice. As you can see right now, they have 47 domain dice that they can use to reroll d20s, force me to reroll a d20, take some out of rest healing with hit dice, turn failed death saving throws into successes, or the Patron's Blessing, as it is called, 5 domain dice to turn a hit into an automatic super crit, which is maximum double damage. So we encourage you, if you would like, to participate in that way, because they have no qualms about spending these domain dice. Sometimes, some of them, some people, I'm not saying who, rely on the domain dice to prevent their character from having horrible fates. And of course, we appreciate that support as well. Next up, and once again, I think I may have forgotten to bring the graphic. What am I thinking? Anyway, I am pleased to say that Mini Terrain Domain has partnered with Initiative Coffee Company. You can head over to Initiative Coffee Company right now to, in fact, I think if you type the word coffee into the chat, there is a direct link, or you can go down at the bottom. There's a link to Metadé Roast Coffee from Initiative Coffee Company. It is a Brazilian and Peruvian medium roast blend, and every purchase of coffee, of the Metadé Roast Coffee, a portion of the proceeds goes to benefit Jasper's Game Day, which is to say, goes to benefit local suicide awareness and prevention crisis centers. So we definitely appreciate that. I love seeing already on Twitter, I've seen out in the wild, people sharing photos of them getting their bags of coffee. And in the not too distant future, I will also be purchasing a few bags that I plan to give away during the streams in stream raffles. So stay tuned for that. Speaking of Jasper's Game Day, coming up 1 week from Saturday is the Jasper's Game Day flagship event at Zig Games here in Michigan. I will be there in person at the event, along with Fenway Jones, the founder of Jasper's Game Day, and Satine Phoenix, and some others. I will be running my Tomb of the Mummy Lord adventure with terrain, a big 2-story pyramid, miniatures, all kinds of cool stuff. And then that Sunday, I said the 10th, it's actually the 11th. And then that Sunday, the 12th, through Thursday, the 16th, right here in Mini Terrain Domain will be Jasper's Game Week. 1 week, 5 days, 40 hours of gaming taking place every day right here. 3 games a day. A few of us that are here will be participating in that or running games. There will be many others. I believe Dave from Nerdarchy is running a game or playing in a game. I can't remember which. And he's
running it because I'm in the game with him.
Oh, yep, there you go. And then we have James Hake, James Intricasso, JB from Drop the Die. We've got B. Dave Walters in the Uncommon Trust. We've got
Dan
Dillon running our final game, our flagship game to end out the week, running a very special sneak preview adventure. We've got I mentioned the Uncommon Trust, Gil Ramirez, the Dice Forger, Lisa Chen, and many others. And we have some wonderful sponsors: Wormwood Gaming, Dungeons and Dragons, D&D Beyond, Miniature Market, Dogmite Games. I don't know. I think I said Wormwood already. I'm saying it again. We've got, what that means is we are going to have a ton of giveaways during the stream that are both tied to time periods during the games, as well as tied to fundraising goals throughout the week. You can head to Jasper's Game Day. There is a way that you can get the link to go, and for a $5 donation, you can buy a raffle ticket to play in the flagship game on each of those days. Each day from 8 to midnight Eastern is what we're calling our flagship games, and we've left a seat open for you, perhaps. $5 will buy you a raffle ticket, and we will be having the drawing right before those games. And that means you could have a chance to play alongside any of those people if your raffle is drawn. All right. I think I just got through all of the announcements in record time.
I just put the link in for that raffle for you in the chat too.
Excellent. Thank you. I appreciate that, V. Be sure to check that out. Click through and check it out. I haven't looked. It's been a little while since I looked, but last time I checked, I think we had come close to $300 before the stream has even begun, raised. All of that money, of course, going to benefit crisis centers for suicide prevention. So we thank you for that. All right. Who wants to play some Dungeons and Dragons? Well, I hope so. Megan looks like she doesn't want to play, so we'll raffle her seat off.
I actually thought this was a knitting circle, so I don't know what I'm doing here.
I was told there was going to be cookies.
It's bring your own cookies. BYOC.
Darn it. My cookies are over there.
So, we need somebody to tell us what happened in the last session. Who, for a point of inspiration, would like to give us the recap? I believe Thorgarn, Ted, did the recap last time, if I'm not mistaken. Any volunteers? Anyone? Bueller? Or I'll take a point of inspiration.
Okay, yes, Scotty, go do.
Scotty raises his hand.
You can do it. You can do it, V. Okay.
I was going to say, I can if no one else is doing it to keep him from giving inspiration, but, hey.
Okay, so we had some recovery from our last encounter fighting this dragon in the deepest depths of this lair in this under subterranean lake. We found all kinds of treasure, so that was pretty cool. I got healed of my affliction, so that was awesome before we set out. And then We climbed back up that way huge ladder all the way back up, and I was obsessed with that room that had the do not enter, bad things in here, do not enter. So we decided we're not going to go that way, right? The party starts to go the other way, and Griveth just couldn't let it go. So he opened the door to check it, just a little look. At the same time, the rest of the party headed off, and then a ghost suddenly came at them. And when I went in there to check the room, there was something happened, and these undead raised to fight us. So the party ended up getting split. Thorgarn came in to help me. They're out there fighting this ghost, which scared the bejeebies out of some of those people. They lost some years. Luckily, it wasn't me, or I'd be a crotchety old man walking around. Then someone lose like 40 years or something crazy of their life from fright from this ghost. So Thorgarn and I are in there fighting this orc white, which must have been the evil thing in there. But worse than that, there was this ogre skeleton that rose up also. So we're fighting for our lives against all these undead. Of course, I'm the Knight of Smite. Of course, Smite, right? we put these things down, and that was pretty much it. We put these things down, finally regrouped, and I said, oh, maybe I shouldn't have opened that door. And they all forgave me. That was pretty cool. I really like that. They forgave me for doing that. And now we're moving on to the next. We got through one room and a hallway. So now we're moving on to the next room. So cool.
Excellent. Thank you, Scotty, for that recap. Go ahead and take a point of inspiration. And the last thing that the thing that we actually ended on was I'm looking, I'm going to find the exact area. Here we go. Talmud had, I believe it was Talmud who had walked into the area where the ghost had originally come from. And there was this sort of a larger area that had a fountain in the center of it. There is a hallway that extends to the left to the west, and there were a couple doors on the north and south walls. And then looking to the east, you saw several doors on the north wall, a couple doors on the south wall of the hallway. But at the end of this hallway, you saw that it led to a large open chamber. 3 doors open into it, and a dark pool fills a low stone basin in its center. The chamber is littered with the remains of old warriors. 7 dwarf corpses lie where they fell 100 years ago, surrounded by the remains of at least a dozen orc warriors. The dead have been stripped of their arms and armor, and only a handful of broken weapons and shattered shields remain. Everybody else was kind of still back in that larger sort of throne room that had the makeshift camp from the Durgar from a few sessions ago. But Talmud, this is the scene that you now see. This appears with your dwarven eyes. You see the floors and the walls, much like the rest of Kundrakar, are worked dwarven stone, but these are inlaid with designs and tiles that give every indication that this area that you are in now was most likely the halls where the dwarves actually called home. This was, it looks for all intents and purposes like a area where the dwarves would reside. What would you like to do?
Talmud kind of comes to kind of a screeching halt, kind of just at the entrance to this open area at the end of the hallway. And he kind of peers inside, looking and listening for just a little bit before seeing all of these dwarves and orcs kind of intermingled, and he starts counting 2, 3, 4, 5. He notices that there's like twice as many orcs that there were dwarves, and he kind of hissed and kind of starts walking into the room to kind of examine and see if he can piece together what happened in this battle.
Give me... I'm going to have you do a history check, and with advantage using your dwarven knowledge.
Jacob Norman. 9 with advantage. 9.
The best that you can tell is that the dwarves made a final stand here in this hall, and they slew their enemies, but themselves were slain. And then it looks as though scavengers have made off with their arms and armor. Beyond that, it's long enough ago. You just, there's no way you could know for sure what happened here.
We kind of peers down where this opens up further, back where it looks like these dwarves had lived. And he's certainly curious, but he thinks he's probably gone far enough on his own, and he's going to turn around and head back.
So Talmud would have, just before you turn back, just to make sure you understand the area. Actually, I keep forgetting in this campaign we have a map section. So you went down this hallway where there's several doors to the north. You're in this area here with the well is where you see all the bodies. And there are 3 doors in here, 1 to the south and 2 on the east wall. And then there's the 4 or 5 doors to the north and a couple to the south. This being the area that you entered from the south in that main throne room area. During the time that Talmud had walked down to the end of the hall and was sort of walking amongst the dead, what is everybody else doing?
I believe Griveth and Thorgarn were in the room with the temple, and we had ended praying, trying to see if we would be able to cleanse any of the corruption that was kind of left by the undead and the things that died in that room.
I'm trying to remember if we had I had you guys roll for that, didn't I?
Yeah, you had said that the desecration was removed as much as we could.
Yeah, it was one of those cases where, Eldath or Moradin, did not come down and speak to you. There was no holy light, but you feel that the 2 of you have done your duty. And particularly with the slaying of these undead creatures, you have eliminated any desecration that was here.
So he gets up and then comes out of the room and sees what everybody else is doing, and that's when I guess he notices that Talmud is left the room, I guess. So where's Talmud?
I don't know. I'm not his keeper.
Well, we were. You didn't see where he went?
Knowing him, he probably went to look for something else to add to the till.
I'm not going to go shouting for him. Fig, did you happen to see where he went?
No, I'm sorry, I did not.
You doing okay?
He like holds up an arm and like kind of waves, and you can hear just as everything is just so rusted still and squeaking. I am feeling much better.
We've been trying to work on it a little bit at least.
Let me know if there's anything I can do. I'll gladly assist.
What about the two of you? Everything all squared away in there?
Well, that room was a temple, and the presence of undead just did not sit well with, I guess, either of us. So I felt, especially being new to the proper faith, I guess you would say, for me, had to make sure that it was clean before we pressed on, and I'm pretty confident that it's good now.
And what about Griveth?
Oh yes, it's clean.
Oh, I didn't mean the room.
What else would you mean?
Are you yourself okay?
Is Cantriel bleeding from any wounds?
No, she's not.
Okay.
There will be no laying of hands.
Wow.
I'm glad you said it. I was about to say it.
Wow.
Remember, the horns hold up the halo.
She just got it out faster than I could, because I was going to say it too.
See, now I want art of Cantriel with her hands on her hips.
They're against me. I'm telling you. It's just.
I want art of Cantriel with
totally
her hands on her hips. There will be no laying on of hands.
I can't even say anything innocent anymore. Yes.
Also, as a reminder, there is a sort of slightly glowing, shadowy form of an elf woman that looks very much like Cantriel, as in the last session, Cantriel activated a feature of her magical weapon that also happens to be her a sentient weapon. That's her mom. And this elf moonshadow is, until she dismisses it, is walking amongst you all.
Great, now there's two of them.
Well, there's two of you, so at least we're a little bit more balanced now.
Well, is that what you say when you return?
As he walks right in. Oh, he hasn't met her yet.
No.
Oh no, he hasn't.
Oh, Talmud meets mom. Oh God, have fun.
Talmud, where'd you go wandering off to?
Oh, this or there, here or there. You were all laying about and acting lazy, so I just took it upon myself to do a little digging around.
So you're just gonna wander off and get yourself killed without any allies? Not telling anyone where you went?
It's never happened before.
There's a first for everything.
Well, we're not lucky. Not today. Oh, there's some dead dwarves over here, and they took out a mess of orcs. There's bones everywhere. Don't look excited.
I can't really get excited over dead dwarves. That's
Are you sure they're dead?
Considering what just happened.
They're bones, so I hope so.
Bones doesn't mean anything.
How would they be alive if they were just bones?
Not alive, undead.
Undead.
Oh, that. Well,
The curse of undeath.
Oh no! If they had gotten up, I would have put them down again.
So, what did you see besides bones?
An elf made out of shadow. That's interesting.
Oh, that's
That's
I'll
my
let-
Oh, well, that explains a lot.
yes, Talmud. This is my mother. Mother, Talmud.
Does she
You
want
know-
us to send her to her rest?
Is this kind of undead okay?
She looks at you sideways, Griveth. Are you talking to me? Or about me?
Why do you linger here? Go to your rest.
I'm sorry. She turns to Cantriel. Does he think I'm one of these undead?
Half the time, I don't know what he's actually thinking, but oftentimes he has misconceptions.
I assure you, Griveth, I have no rest to which to return. I plan to stick around for quite some time now that I'm reunited with my daughter, and there's no amount of turning you can do to me. And as with each word, she gets closer and closer to you until she's like nose to nose with you. And I hope you don't have a problem with that.
Maybe not now, but I will grow in power.
I think what she's saying is she's not undead, and therefore any power you would enact is not going to drive her off.
We shall see. We shall see.
I would gather that it is more of a magical connection or emanation than it is the actual undead spirit.
Priest, I think she has bewitched her daughter.
Cantriel would just look up towards her mother and just sort of shaking her head like, this is what I've been dealing with.
Perhaps it's not even her mother.
She's still in your face, and you can see
Oh.
the biggest eye roll as she just rolls her eyes with her whole head and just walks over towards you, Cantriel, just shaking her head. You know, just not 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, I was starting to like that fella.
Mm-hmm.
So Thorgarn walks over to Fig, and he kind of whispers down to him and says, maybe this will get him off your back.
I do not believe I am undead.
No. With him saying that you're not really alive kind of bothers me that he keeps at it. So maybe this melody will be a distraction.
I do not know why he is so quick to assume things about people. He must have been hurt by a ghost.
It is possible. Talmud, is it obviously if you've come back, not yelling about battle and whatnot? I guess it's safe. Is there a way to continue on that direction, or should we open one of these other doors?
Well, that's the thing about it. There is a little bit of bad news. That direction, there's a lot of doors.
Make it sound like doors are a bad thing.
Oh, doors are lovely, wonderful things.
Yeah, the rest of the group doesn't really take kindly to doors. We had a rather long, drawn-out experience. It wasn't pleasant.
Especially for you.
I'm fine.
Well, I mean, we did come in here without someone who specializes in looking for traps and whatnot.
That's me.
Why are you dwarves so fond of doors?
Because you can close them and keep people on the other side.
I was going to say privacy. Boundaries.
That's what Cantriel said, just in different words.
More humorous version thereof. So, shall we away?
Well, we might as well.
Forward, maybe we'll find some of these orcs they keep telling us are here.
Don't forget to collect the ears.
If they're bones, I doubt they'll have ears.
I wonder what they give for a skull.
I don't know. So, Cantriel, how long does your mother get to stay with us in this form?
Well, either until I guess she wants to, or we don't need her. And she'll look to her mother's shadow just to sort of like, how would this actually work?
As long as you've summoned me, I'll stay here as long as you want me here. As long as you carry the bow, I'm with you always. This is just a manifestation of my spirit that resides within the bow.
Fair enough. Well,
But I only have enough strength to manifest like this once per day.
As as one who cares about those who have gone beyond, and I have my own connection to my ancestral spirits, I find this is a strengthening of our group, that you now have your own connection to your ancestral spirits.
Cantriel will sort of like open her mouth in sort of surprise, and you'll see a smile kind of play across her face at the same time. Well, thank you. That's very kind of you to say.
Talmud is inspecting this shadow elf kind of closely. He's got his arms folded kind of tightly and highly across his chest. Can you fight?
Can I fight?
Aye. It's a simple question.
She reaches out and slaps you in the face. Did you feel that?
A wee bit.
Now imagine it with closed fists. And that you're someone I don't like.
Oh, you like me. He kind of looks over at Cantriel like, huh?
Well, she is my mother. I did get it from someone, after all.
Well, if you can fight and do more than slap, then I'm happy to have you in the group, honestly.
Come on now, Talmud. You yourself, you walk the same, or mostly the same path that I do, and we use those who have gone before us as allies. How is this anything but a proper blessing on our travels?
Considering all I would need to do is ask for a table of 2, you'd need a table of 15.
I can't control what happens to me. Thank you very much.
So this is a bonus. This is a known factor as opposed to unknown.
Like I said, as long as she can fight, it's fine with me. I was congratulating everyone and her along with it to be a part of our group.
How about you hug and make up?
I'm not hugging a shadow.
And at the same time, she says, I'm not hugging the dwarf.
Cantriel will just start laughing.
She walks over by you, Cantriel. Is this why it took you so long to find me? Because you guys spend so much time standing around debating what you're going to do next?
Usually, yes, that's how it works out, it seems. You have to keep the levity at times.
I see Megan in the corner shaking her head. I just imagine hearing a little as Fig is shaking his head and sort of squeaking.
Well then, if you're so concerned with expediency and Talmud, Thorgarn begins walking off in the direction that Talmud came from.
Let's move out.
I've gone from being a living elf to having my spirit tied to within a bow, residing in a dragon's hoard for about 100 years. Expediency, well, anything is expedient compared to that. I'm not telling you how to do your thing. I was merely inquiring. So, Thorgarn, you're heading down that hall?
Aye, yep.
All right. Well, you see the same thing then. Within this hall, you see the pool, and then there are a hallway to the right, which to the east, looking down at the far end, you can see the bodies that Talmud spoke of, or to the west, you can see that the hall continues on for about maybe 40, 50 feet. And there are doors to the north, 2 doors to the north, 2 doors to the south. There are many more doors to the east.
At the at that well that's there, I'll give a listen. Holy crap! Natural 20, so 21 on perception. See if I hear anything. Looking down either direction, try to see if there's any movement, anything going on.
Listening very quietly, intently, you manage to find that moment where everybody has sort of nobody's actually talking, nobody's moving, and just for a couple brief moments you listen and you hear first just the stillness of this place. This once great dwarven fortress, this redoubt that has now become a dwarven crypt. Sounds like a crypt. And then you hear I don't know if you guys can hear that. There's a siren going.
that
You
happened
hear
to
these strange calls.
that happened to time perfectly with you can hear.
Yeah. I couldn't tell how much of that was coming through. I have a few volunteer firefighters in my neighborhood. I appreciate what they do. Just not that they blare their sirens right away.
We had a shift in positions.
When you went to the map view,
Oh, that's right.
people jockeyed. I don't know if that's
right.
gonna.
I forgot about that.
No, I can tell that Megan's camera probably cut out. I can always tell because it's whoever's last in the order means their camera went out. Which means everybody but V, turn your cameras off. And then Megan, turn yours on. Followed by Scotty, Jeremy, and Ted. All right, so you can hear coming from the east, Thorgarn. It's faint enough that you can't quite discern the precise nature of it, though it sounds like crying.
Holy crap.
But it's even with that high perception, and looking down that longer hallway, it could just be the distance, but it kind of sounds like it's right at the edge of your hearing, like almost like, am I hearing it? Yeah, there's definitely something there.
So like he kind of stops and he He's like putting his hand to his ear, trying to discern as little as much as he can, and realizing that it's so faint that he can barely make it out. So he's gonna go up to to the group and let him know what happens. And I got to take 2 seconds because apparently I didn't plug my laptop in. 1 second.
Oh, that was a warning sound for Ted. All right, so Thorgarn has just let you know that he can hear what sounds like faint crying sounds coming from the end of the hall where Talmud had previously gone.
Oh, because something crying in the distance isn't ever something to worry about.
Talmud, you did not hear this sound at all when you were down there. And now that Thorgarn has told you all, you can all make a perception check with advantage to see if you can also hear this sound. Are your dice not being nice to you, Jeremy?
Are they ever in this game?
An 18.
I got a 12.
Griveth, Fig?
It's like I said, you can just
14.
barely hear it.
Got a 9.
So does Cantriel hear it with the 18, or does everyone think I'm just mad?
Cantriel just normally has incredible hearing. Even with you telling her, she's not hearing it.
All right, well, then maybe I'm just bonkers, but I swear I can hear it.
Well,
So,
quite frankly, I'm willing to believe you because I only heard Mum for a little while on my own and no one else heard her. Strange things obviously happen here.
so
If we move forward and you hear it, let us know.
I'm gonna slowly begin moving down that hallway. I'm not willing to do what Talmud did and walk past all those doors without seeing what's in them. You never know when a bad guy's gonna leap out behind us and have us unprepared. So that first door on the left, I'm gonna
All right, so
listen.
you have a door to the left, to your left, and one to your right.
So the first one on the left that I come to, I'm gonna put my ear up against it, see what kind of, is it a pull handle, a knob handle?
They're knob handles like many of the doors you found in here.
Anything on the inside when I give a listen?
Give me a perception check.
That's a 4.
Nothing you can hear.
Open her up.
All right, you open up the door, and you see what appears to be a the room is actually about just a hair over 20 foot by 20 foot. Bits of broken furniture litter the room, and it looks like was at one time a living quarters that has been thoroughly ransacked. There's just broken bits of debris and furniture, and maybe some remnants of what was maybe once tapestries hanging on the walls. A bit of orc graffiti on the walls, and in amongst the furniture debris, you see a dwarf skeleton, and you see 3 orc skeletons.
As I easily look over the head of Thorgarn, can I read the can I read the scrollings on the wall?
Much like in the other room, it's just epithets against the dwarves, orcish, just foul orcish curses and slangs, descriptions of what they do to the dead dwarves, and their graves, things like that.
Nothing worth repeating.
So, Talmud, I think after we get this place cleared, we're gonna have to get all these remains buried properly.
I agree. I think there's plenty in the clan who would come and help us once the danger was removed.
Looking, down the hall, having seen, the handful of dwarves there, this one here, literally killed in his own bed, basically. Even though he fought to the end, taking 3 of them with him, Thorgarn's getting a little choked up, at his words. Let's see what else there is here.
Would you turn to the door on your right, or would you continue along the ones on the north wall?
Door to the right. Basically the one that's across the hall.
All right, so you turn across the hall to another door.
I think at this time Fig is maybe not so ceremoniously picking up some of the bones, just different parts, and putting them into a little container that he has found in his leg. And so when he walks, he just kind of rattles a little bit, but he...
Oh, okay.
But he's very interested in them. Like he would like look at the differences in some of the different bones in these orcs and these dwarves, and he would collect as much as he can carry without it being too awkward.
All right. Yeah, so you have a few random orc / dwarf bones in your leg now.
So if you're looking for the tiny ones, obviously you want to go for like wrist or ankle bones.
Yeah. Maybe
All
an
right.
ulna or 2.
All right, Thorgarn.
So what's on the other? Same process. I assume I don't hear anything because my +1 to wisdom.
You can absolutely assume you don't hear anything, or you can roll a perception check.
Even better, 3.
You don't hear anything.
Like I said.
All right.
Open her up.
You open up the door to find a room that is about 40 foot square. This chamber looks like it must have once been the personal quarters of a very important dwarf. It is decorated with tapestries and furnished comfortably, although age has taken its toll on the contents. Apparently, the room has not been looted. A beautiful rug covers the center of the floor, and a simple bed and writing desk stand in the southwest corner. This is easily twice the size of the smaller living quarters you saw in the previous room.
Could this
Go ahead.
Could this be where Durgadin slept?
It's possible. Could I make some kind of check to see based on layout and size, what kind of import this person might have had?
you would have to go into the room and just make an investigation to see if you can discern based on the contents of the room. Just standing here looking at it,
Yeah, I'll go in.
It just looks like somebody's an important dwarf's room. Go ahead and give me a investigation check.
Yeah, I got nothing. It's it's a 3.
And anybody else, you can go into the room if you wish and start to look around. Talmud, are you following Thorgarn in? Go ahead and give me investigation.
I got a 14.
I got a 16.
Talmud got a 14. Where'd my map go? All right. Talmud, you managed to find a small wooden chest that is under the bed. And it's old enough that the wood actually kind of is a little weak. And you can see shiny through it. This chest contains, the small chest contains 1,200 silver pieces, 3,000 copper pieces, and a square of silk. It is a sort of a bluish purple. The silk actually seems to shift between the two colors, though it is a bit sort of not brittle, but kind of coming apart with age, which is why you can see that there are a couple of blue topaz gems inside this silk and a single large pearl. The blue topazes are worth 90 gold pieces each, and this pearl is worth 500 gold pieces. Cantriel, you had come in and we're also kind of looking around. Is anybody else coming in? Fig and Griveth, are you looking around as well? So Thorgarn and Talmud kind of worked their way through the room and found their way over to the desk and the bed. And Thorgarn doesn't... Thorgarn...
Right,
what was your investigation?
All right, I got a 3. So what I'm saying is, like, it is common for dwarves to, wealthy dwarves to hide stuff underneath the carpet. So he tosses the carpet off to the side, and he's looking.
The carpet is not easily tossed to the side. This thing takes up most of the room.
All right. Well, he spends the time to try and get the carpet moved without cutting it. And then he's looking for, the hidden stone that's not really there to lift up. So that's why he doesn't find anything.
So Talmud is kind of on his hands and knees at the edges, lifting up sections of the rug. Cantriel, Griveth, and Fig, as you are moving through the room, let's see. I need to... which room is this? I need to know. All right, we're going to do this. We're going to switch over here, the dice cam. And Cantriel, Griveth, and do something drastically different. Fig. Cantriel, does a 16 hit you? Griveth, does a 15 hit you? And Fig, that is a critical hit.
That hits me. Yep.
Can I deflect that?
I will say yes, so I will re-roll that critical hit. Does a 16 hit you? So,
Yes.
Griveth, as you start to walk into the room, and Cantriel and Fig are this room's big enough. Everybody's sort of splitting up to kind of look things through. Griveth, you walk into an area where Thorgarn is already on the floor. He's flipped back the corner of this rug, and it's almost like as you step in, he flips the corner back, and you sort of step in on the stones where he had flipped this rug back. But Fig and Cantriel, you walk in onto the rug. The moment the two of you walk onto the rug, one corner of the rug lifts up and slams both of you into the ground. You are each going to take... I'm going to roll damage once, and that's what both of you are going to take. 13 points of bludgeoning damage each. And that corner of the rug rolls up around the both of you. You are both grappled. You are restrained, blinded, and at the risk of suffocating as this rug of smothering has wrapped itself around you. And I would like you all to roll for initiative.
Cantriel!
And no, this isn't a vengeance play, Megan. I did almost lose a character to a rug of smothering.
I know what you're talking about.
I did almost lose my dwarven fighter, Talmud's cousin.
Yeah.
A couple sessions ago, but
yeah, pretty nasty.
this has nothing to do with that, I assure you.
Right. Uh-huh.
All right, Griveth, what'd you get? If you said, I didn't hear.
Darn it, I did it again. A big old 7.
Cantriel, what'd you get?
An 8.
8?
Oh, no.
Big.
11.
Big, what's your dex?
+1.
All right. And Thorgarn?
13.
And Talmud?
8 as well.
An 8?
Correct.
All right, here is your order, initiative order. It is going to be Thorgarn, the rug, Talmud, and Cantriel.
You got
Nope. I forgot. Fig. Fig is next. Then Talmud and Cantriel, and finally Griveth is going to be last in that order. So Thorgarn, hearing the commotion and seeing this rug roll up, slam Cantriel and Fig into one another and down onto the ground, and begin sort of rolling them up from the corner. What do you do?
So how big is the rug? Like, is there an obvious section that doesn't seem to have them in it that I would be able to start cutting?
This rug, so the room is 40 feet by 40 feet. The rug is, actually, I think it does say the dimensions here. 20 feet square, so it's 20 feet on a side.
So does that actually answer my question? Can I attack this thing in any way without fear of injuring my allies?
Yeah, there's enough of an area you could attack at a point where their bodies are not.
All right, so the Warhammer comes in at a 26 and a 17 with a war pick.
Both of those will hit.
Do you need the damage separate or just all together? One does piercing, one does bludgeoning, one is magical.
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
You can go ahead and give me all damage.
So there's 14 points of damage.
I just killed a stink bug without thinking about it. It was on my laptop. I grabbed it and squished it, and now I regret it. All right, Talmud instinctively jumps up and begins attacking the rug.
I'm Thorgarn.
Thorgarn jumps up and begins attacking the rug.
Second time tonight you've called me Talmud.
2 ancestral barbarian dwarves with names that begin with a T. That's all I'm going to say. Next up is the rug, which is going to... It is going to... the corner that missed Griveth initially is going to snap up and attempt to get Griveth. That is another 15. So this corner of this rug flips up and sort of whoosh, dust kind of fills the air in your face. Not enough to blind you or anything. But it's just that musty dust that, knowing what you've seen around here, probably is comprised of bone dust of orcs and dwarves. And then a corner of the rug is going to attempt... oh no, it already has you two. So that is all it's going to do. It attempts to get Griveth and misses. Big, you are up. What would you like to do? You're basically grappled, so...
Yeah, I don't think I can do anything.
You can make a strength check to attempt to break the grapple.
Okay, I will do that.
Yeah, sorry, I was just double checking the conditions that you're under, because you are blinded.
Mhm.
And you are restrained. No, so it's just a straight strength check.
Straight strength. Okay. Ooh, that is a 5.
You are unable to remove yourself from this rug. It's a confusing tumble of darkness. You briefly felt Cantriel kind of thrown up against you, and it sort of lifts up, and you get slammed into the ground, and you take another 7 points of bludgeoning damage.
I feel like at this point, Fig is desperately trying to avoid hitting Cantriel just because Fig is just a bunch of metal, like just banging around in this rug. So he is desperately trying to hold on so that he won't hit Cantriel.
Give me another strength check.
Oh, of course. Now I get the natural 20.
All right.
That's 23.
So you are successfully preventing Cantriel from taking an additional 6 points of bludgeoning damage from your own body. It is both Cantriel and Talmud. Talmud, what would you do? Oh, you're deferring to Cantriel. Cantriel, the only thing you can do is attempt an grapple escape, unless you have something else up your sleeve.
Mom. Mom's still out.
She is. She acts on your turn.
Right.
And is separate from you. So what are you doing?
I will, well, I was going to Misty Step, but I'm blinded. So I will, I guess, do strength check, right? Or strength.
Do you have to be able to see where you're going with Misty Step?
It specifically says to an unoccupied space that you can see.
Okay.
So, yeah, I have to see.
You would not want to Misty Step into the midst of the stone.
No, because that is awkward. Ooh, okay. 16.
you feel yourself being knocked around and slammed against this, briefly up against Fig, and then there's a sudden flip and you find the edge of this rug and are able to kind of work with the flipping of it, and suddenly there's light as you are kind of tossed out into the center of this rug. You successfully escaped the grapple. You are no longer restrained or blinded.
Okay, do I still have movement left?
You have movement and any bonus actions. It was your action to escape.
Okay, then I'm scrambling off that rug, and I'll look over to Talmud and say to him, make sure you get Fig out of there. This is not good. And give him bardic inspiration. Oh. And then Mum.
All right, what is she going to do?
She's going to do strength drain.
To the rug?
To the rug.
All right.
So it's a +4 to hit. All right, let me flip back over again. Okay, so I'm guessing a 9 is not going to do the trick.
No.
No. All right, so Mom tries.
All right, and Talmud.
Talmud is going to produce at first, once again, Gerta, and then looks at this animated piece of fabric and is going to opt for the battle axe instead, thinking that maybe that'll help. He's going to walk over to it and try to find a place where he can bring this thing down on it and hopefully not hurt Fig.
So basically, this rug is 20 feet by 20 feet. Fig is rolled up in a corner of it, so roughly a third of the rug is taken up. So much like Thorgarn, you have the ability to attack the rug that is taking up the rest of the room.
All right.
Or the bulk of the room. There's basically about 10 feet all the way around the rug that isn't covered by the rug in this room.
All right. Well, I'm about to cut a rug.
So the way I envisioned when it's like, it grabs them, I was thinking that it grabs them and rolls up multiple times.
Nope, just the one corner, because this is it's basically a gargantuan rug. It's just that one corner that rolled up.
Makes sense.
Yep.
All right, so that is a 15 to hit.
That does hit it.
Excellent. I'm going to strike it again. Spend a domain die. Oh, good God. So that is going to be 12.
Hits.
Yes. Okay. This is battle axe, so it's a D12.
It's not a terribly high
great
AC.
axe,
you are literally hitting the floor.
Well, with me, you never know.
This is true.
Okay, so that's going to be 6 points on the first one.
All right.
And 6 points on this. No, I'm sorry. That's 10 points on the second.
All right. Yeah, you see between Thorgarn and Talmud, you see that you are cutting through this rug in places. You can see the bare stone below it. Yep, that would be Griveth.
All right. So, Sir Bradford's honor auto crits objects. Does that include rugs?
I'm gonna say
objects.
I'm gonna say no, and that's gonna be specifically because this rug does have a monster type. So it is not just a inanimate. It's obviously not inanimate, but it's not just an object.
Okay. So, Griveth shoots a glance over at Thorgarn and says, "I'm going to save your toy for you." So then he imagines back in the days when he was wrestling champion of the unit, body oiled up, loincloth, just muscle ripped, just muscles. Nothing could escape his grasp, right? So he is jumping on this rug and ripping it off of Fig with his grappling. And I am a grappling master.
All right, so go ahead and make a. I'm going to have this be an opposed strength check.
Okay.
So I'm going to. We'll switch over here to the dice cam, and this is. What'd you get?
Crit.
All right. That is a 16. So, Griveth, you are able to. You just sort of just get into the fray. Quick question though. Is your shield? Do you like toss your shield aside? I mean, it's more flavor than anything else. It's not. But
right. What I imagine is with the shield.
Let me put it this way.
Kind of got the strap on, but he kind of just lets. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
The strap is still on the shield, but he.
Let me put it this way.
And the sword has like a leather. So he just
You tell me what it looks like as you get in there with your wrestling moves and you free Fig from
the
rug.
So Fig feels this heavy weight like leap onto her, and she's like, or he's like, "Oh, this might be the end," but suddenly the rug like rips back from you. You can see, and you're looking almost directly up into Griveth's face, like grunting and just looking like he's having a great time. So he's ripping this rug back from you. You're able to scurry out. Well, you'll be able to scurry out, I guess, on your turn from the rug. And he's actually like pinning the rug down. Like the special ability with Grappler is I can hold the target, like I can keep the target held. So that's what I'm going to do. So it can't attack.
What I'm going to do, because of the size of this rug, is that's going to change to disadvantage on its attacks. Because you're basically holding a corner of a 20-foot square rug down.
Right. It's pretty big, yeah.
Yeah, it's big enough that you wouldn't be able to... I can almost see...
Right, exactly.
I almost see if Griveth spread eagle on the ground, trying to hold this whole thing down like this, and then all four corners just go... Oh man, I could just see this whole thing animated. And then it slowly peels away as Griveth is pressing against it. No, I got this, guys.
So can Fig scurry out, or does Fig have to wait for Fig's turn?
I think Fig is free at the moment, but is prone, and we'll have to wait until his turn to actually be able to.
Could it be like a held action, and he could run out, scurry out?
Well, it'll be his action when it's his turn.
Because he didn't move. He just tried to break free.
But he's still prone.
Okay, yeah. Could he like crawl out?
He rolls out towards the center of the rug.
Okay.
And it is Thorgarn's turn now.
Yes, I am done.
Because Griveth is grappling it, this doesn't count as, pinned and we get advantage or any of that kind of stuff, right?
I'm going to say no, just because of the fact, as I said, it's such a big rug and he's only holding down one corner of it.
All right, so first attack, I have a 15 to hit.
It hits.
All right, and everything else is higher than that, with the last one being a crit. So that is 10 points of damage with the hammer and 14 points of damage with the war pick. So 24.
You go to work on this thing, Thorgarn, and you are cutting ribbons out of this rug. It still seems to have a little bit of fight left in it, though, when you're done.
Okay.
And it is going to make an attempt at disadvantage to strike back at Griveth, who's pinning it down. And that's a critical failure. So here's what happens, because this is how I imagine this. There's the crit fail right there. Here's how I imagine this. Thorgarn and Talmud have laid into this thing, and Griveth is pinning a section of it down, and the dwarves in fighting this thing are even kind of standing on it in places, though it has not attempted to attack either of them. When suddenly the entire opposite corner of where Griveth is laying on this thing just rises up, attempting to come down towards Griveth. And you hear this ripping and tearing sound from all of the cuts that Talmud and Thorgarn have put into this thing. This rug literally tears itself apart trying to get to Griveth. And as it rises to the apex, all of a sudden you hear this, and then the other half of this rug just sort of goes and falls on Thorgarn and Talmud. Fig, who is lying in the middle of it, and just sort of with the weight of it lands on you, but it is not attempting to grapple you. It is not attempting to smother you. It is simply lying there, no longer a threat. You are out of combat.
Did we get it? Are we done? Are we done? Did we get it? Oh, good. Okay. I can get up now.
I imagine like this very cartoony where you see like the little lump in the carpet kind of move around to the edge, and you just see Fig pop out.
It kind of moves around. The lump moves around, bumps into somebody, instead of moves and goes elsewhere. But eventually you do come out from underneath this rug. Fig, give me a quick perception check.
That is a 15.
You come up out from under this rug, kind of back in that corner where the bed and the desk were, where Talmud and Thorgarn were first looking. And as you just sort of suddenly stand up out from under this rug, you find yourself facing that corner, and you see the desk, and there's a familiarity to not the desk. You've never seen this desk before. You've never seen anything on this desk before, but you've seen desks arranged in this sort of organized chaos before. And the types of things that are on this desk remind you very much of the wizard who once belonged to you. This does look like a desk that belonged to a wizard or mage.
Fig. I can imagine that he gets up, he's going to turn from towards his companions, but then he does kind of a double take, and he looks back at this desk, and he's just kind of approaching it slowly and looking at it. I know this. And he's kind of like lifting. He's very, very careful to lift something up and to put it down in the exact same spot where it had originally been. Just kind of say, I remember this. I know this.
All of you hear a mysterious ringing sound.
Comes from Fig. He just lifts up a phone.
I was going to say, all of a sudden the scrolls start producing themselves.
You've uncovered the magical slot machine of scrolls.
Was someone expecting a message?
Does anybody respond as Fig is saying this out loud?
Fig, just don't get too close to it, considering what just happened, and Cantriel's going to kick the rug.
Would you like me to check it first?
Oh, there may be more magical traps. Everyone be careful.
Fig is gonna just kind of tap the desk with his foot.
You can never trust a wizard.
It's wood. Basically, you are able to determine that there's nothing special about this desk. You don't really find anything more than some things, formulas partially written, maybe a couple of in-process spell scrolls, nothing finished. A few, like a scales, maybe a couple jars with some components in them that have long since expired. It's basically just looks like a cluttered old wizard's desk. And I think hearing this, Talmud and Thorgarn, seeing that you had already determined that this belonged to somebody of import, perhaps not Durgadin himself, but probably a very trusted advisor, if this was a dwarven wizard's chambers. And with that, this time I'm going to remember, partially because my bladder is reminding me, we're going to take our 10-minute break right now. I'm terrible about remembering the breaks, but I'm doing a dutiful job of staying hydrated, so my body is reminding me. We're going to take a 10-minute break, and then we will return for the rest of the session. During the break, of course, as always, there will be some promos running with more information in them. Thank you to everybody who has tuned in so far. We greatly appreciate that. People who have subscribed, resubscribed, dropped a few bits. You may notice that there is some responsive Stream Elements is responding with some clever little musings during this time. As you drop bits or subscribe or any of those things. So try dropping bits or subscribing to see what Stream Elements has to say to you. We will be back in 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and start the promo now. We'll see you in a few. Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is The Intermission. Mini Terrain Domain, or MTD, is a channel dedicated to the love of and participation in the world of tabletop role-playing games. Whether we're designing encounters or miniature terrain, building worlds or dice towers, or just playing games, everything we do here is because we love this amazing hobby. That is why the mission statement of Mini Terrain Domain is simply imagine, build, play. If you like to watch live play or actual play D&D games, you can do so at twitch.tv/Mini Terrain Domain 3 days a week at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. On Sundays, you can join us for Cult of Personality, a long-running campaign set in the Tomb of Annihilation adventure setting. On Mondays, you can join us for All That Glitters, a Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign guaranteed to be epic proportion. And every Thursday night, you can join us for Dawnbringers, the Forge of Fury. This is a series of mini campaigns going across the gamut of several well-known modules. Season 1, which is available on youtube.com/Mini Terrain Domain, took place in the Sunless Citadel, and Season 2 is currently taking place the Forge of Fury. If you can't join us in the chat for our live shows, that's okay. You can usually catch the roleplay, or rather the replay, on YouTube just 2 days later. you're a fan of what we do here and you'd like to support what we do, there are a variety of ways you can do this. First, simply follow the Twitch channel or hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Next, make sure you follow all of the participants of each game or show on their various social media platforms. To do this, if you're watching live with us on Twitch, you can simply type an exclamation point and that person's name into the Twitch chat, or on YouTube, you can look down below the information bar and all of their links can be found there. Finally, if you would like to provide monetary support, which flows right back into the production of the channel so we can continue making great content, you can join the growing list of patrons on Patreon. Additionally, you can also use Ko-Fi or Coffee to buy a coffee or two. I like coffee. But the absolute best way to support the channel is to follow and subscribe on Twitch and YouTube and join us in the chat. If you have an Amazon Prime account and you link it to your Twitch account, you can subscribe to one channel per month absolutely free. No matter what you decide to do, we are just happy to have you here. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more great content in just a few moments. Remember, metadata!
Hi everyone, I'm V and I have the YouTube channel, The Crafting Muse. Please be sure to go over there and check it out if you too would like to learn how to make some tabletop terrain, paint miniatures, as well as some game accessories. I'm always happy to have new subscribers over there.
Learn the ways of the Game Master, the Dungeon Master, and delve into the minds of the players. If you're looking for adventure, excitement, thrills, and a dice-rolling good time, grab the modules each month and play the campaign with your gaming group with quest givers DM Scotty and DMG. They're taking you on an epic journey through the role-playing experience every Friday. You're sure to get hooked on adventure.
And we really liked the idea of creating adventures together, so we thought that'd be a lot of fun to share with you guys.
I didn't think this kind of stuff would come out of my brain. We are quest givers, and I'll see you in the next video.
Adventure Mixtape, a music and adventure anthology, is a collection of 4 adventures for the 5th edition of the world's most popular role-playing game. The adventures are setting neutral and meant to be seamlessly dropped into any world that has a large seaside city and a jungle environment. With a bit of adaptation, the environments could be changed to suit any group. In Treaty of the Tiger King by Kelsey Dion of the Arcane Library, a distant king arrives at the city to negotiate the peaceful end of a war, but the mercenary guild has other insidious plans for him. Will the players be able to thwart assassination attempts against King Rami and help him negotiate circles of social intrigue in order to finally end the war? In Madness of the Majestic Menagerie by Ken Brees of Burling's Beard, the famous Majestic Menagerie draws hordes of visitors to the metropolis and cultural hub known since time immemorial as Splendor by the Sea. But now the gates of the famous zoo have been shut and the grand opening of the new section has been jeopardized by a spate of mysterious accidents and, it's whispered, grievous injuries due to uncontrollable creatures. Mr. Majestic seeks to hire investigators and troubleshooters who can keep a low profile to iron out any problems before the impending grand opening becomes a complete disaster. Do you have what it takes to uncover what's driving the madness that's befallen the Majestic Menagerie? In The Infernal Collection by Sharang Biswas, when an influential fashion designer is found dead days before a major fashion show, heroes are called in to solve the mystery, prevent any further destruction, and help the fashion house prepare for the show. Gorillas in Their Midst by Jacob W. Norman of Mini Terrain Domain is a pulp action adventure wrought with perilous challenges and a high possibility of death. But what is adventure without danger? Of course, there is the lure of vast piles of unclaimed treasure and the accompanying fame that await those intrepid adventurers who would defy the odds and plunge into the heart of darkness. In this adventure, the characters will face raging river rapids, wicked waterfalls, poisonous plants, venomous vines, sinking sands, treacherous traps, and the vicious jungle demon itself, Awakanegori. Grab your satchels, fedoras, and bullwhips. Adventure awaits. The Adventure mixtape also comes with 4 original songs inspired by and written for the heroic adventures herein. This collection of music and story is something unique. We had no better word for it than mixtape. If you ever received a cassette, CD, or digital playlist curated to take you on a memorable journey, then you'll recognize what you find inside this volume. Also included in the Adventure mixtape, courtesy of Kelsey Dion of the Arcane Library, are exclusive combat cards. Special cards that contain all of the items, monsters, and spellcasters found within these adventures to make running your adventure all the more easier. Adventure Mixtape, a music and adventure anthology, is available exclusively on drivethrurpg.com.
Griveth, once home to the most wondrous kingdom the world had ever known, blasted to nothing in just a fortnight. It is here that the fiends of hell walk among us. It is here where all things die. Welcome to Griveth. Demon invaders roam the landscape and have conquered all. The world is a ravaged and wrathful wasteland where the old world lies buried beneath the blood and sand with its gods and its secrets. Water is fought over with blood and steel. Compatible with the 5th edition of the world's oldest fantasy role-playing game, this book contains all new character creation options, including all of the familiar classes with new aspects befitting the ravaged wastelands of Griveth, along with new backgrounds, subclasses, spells, feats, and so much more. New races will allow you to play as the cursed Ash Elves, the Forsaken Humans, the Primordial Incarnate, the Proud Orcs, the Reptilian Suri, or the Infernal-Blooded Tieflings. New game mechanics such as blood, grit, and effort give your games an intense focus on lethality and survival. Numerous roll tables full of ideas to help bring your games to life. Featuring incredible thematic art by Brandish Gilhelm of Broodhammer Games, as well as Lloyd Collins. The people of Griveth are not heroes. In Griveth it is courage just to survive. Will you rise to face the tide of demons, or will you succumb to the hostile elements? Available now on drivethrurpg.com.
And we are back. And real quick, before I forget to do this, I'm going to go ahead and throw another domain die in there because Dice on Ice, aka Megan, has pledged their banner to the realm for 13 months in a row. Resubscriptions, of course, earn domain dice, even if it is the players in the game that are subscribing to get domain dice. The precedent was set long ago, so it's all cool. It's all good. So you guys just survived a encounter with a rug of smothering, and Fig has just determined that this room belonged to a wizard, Thorgarn and Talmud, realizing that it was probably a trusted advisor of Durgadin the Black. What would you like to do?
Does anybody need any healing?
I wouldn't say no. And she'll like look sideways over to Griveth.
I'm still new to this, and he once again switches over to speaking in Celestial and calling upon Morden. I will one at a time use all the power that I've got. So that is 9 to Fig and 7 to Cantriel.
Oh, thank you.
I can't do that a lot, and in fact, that's all I get.
Well, you did a good job of it.
Cantriel's wounds, in addition to the bruising, would have been a couple of pretty nasty rug burns.
Yeah, you saw the chat.
Yep. Yes, I did. I'm taking inspiration from our moderator Chesic student. Fig even has a couple spots where the tarnishing of the copper has suddenly got just a couple little spots where it's shiny now, where the rug was rubbing.
It polished her up.
So that's the real trick to making Fig look better, is just find another rug of smothering and throw him in there for a little bit.
No, I mean, we could take this and we got plenty of it now. We could use this to clean you off some more if you like.
All right. Aside from buffing Fig, what would you guys like to do?
So do we
look at the desk yet or explore it?
Fig did, and just found that it was mostly
Oh.
papers and wizardly stuff, nothing magical or significant otherwise.
Anything that's actually worthwhile notes that is either history or anything that would actually possibly link this person to Durgadin or something else?
Yeah, about forging weapons, maybe.
You can both make an investigation check through the chaos of the desk.
Killing me here, Jake. 12.
I got a 3.
So, you guys are both looking through everything, and Talmud is holding up papers, going, "I don't know what this is." It's as he's holding it up, Thorgarn, you look, and Talmud is looking at the backside of some papers, and you see the writing on the front. That a few sheets of this parchment are stamped at the top, almost like a letterhead, with the marks of Durgadin the Black. Most of the writing that's on here just seems to be general notes, though. There's not anything specific. That's about the extent of what you find. So, I mean, it's definitely somebody tied to Durgadin. I mean, for that matter, there's banners that are tapestries hanging on the walls. And I would say you definitely would see signs of dwarven decor.
Well, we're not going to be able to carry out every little nook and cranny and thing that we find in here. There's definitely something to be said about, leaving it here for the family when we were able to retake this after the stoma removed. So how about we just, I kind of stack the papers up as nice and neat as I can and leave them there and kind of just, run my fingers lightly across the tapestry and head on out of the room.
All right. Back in the hall, you have 3 more doors on the north and 2 more doors on the south. The southern doors are spaced further apart.
So what's everyone?
Well, we could always have fun and try 3 doors this time.
You get knocked on the head by that carpet a bit too much?
I'm kidding. I'm fluent in sarcasm, don't forget.
That's a great idea, Cantriel. There's 5 of us. We
Griveth.
just all open a door and look in.
Griveth, it was a joke.
Oh. Oh, it was?
Yes.
So
I thought it was a good idea.
Are you guys planning on just systematically going through and opening these doors?
Aye.
So in the interest of time, I will say that since you're obviously going to open all the doors, 4 of the doors, which would all be in succession, the 3 remaining doors on the north are all 20 by 20 living quarters. All of them with a similar discovery of skeletons. In every case, 2 of the rooms actually don't have any skeletons in them, but one more to the north, and the next room in succession to the south. All have skeletons, and in every case, the number of orc skeletons outnumbers the dwarf skeletons by 2 or 3. In every case, it looks like the dwarves laid waste to the orcs, though ultimately all of them are dead. I'm going to go ahead and have each one of you, since you're checking all of these rooms, and you've checked a total of 5 of these living quarter rooms, each of you roll 1d10 and tell me what you find. Tell me what you get on your die.
9.
5.
We got a 3.
8.
5 also.
All right. You don't turn up anything other than bones, broken furniture, things like that. In every case, you find that the corpses have been looted previously, arms and armor stripped. There is now only one door remaining on the south side before you get to that kind of essentially a courtyard, though you're still underground. And this door, who is the one that opens this door?
Me.
I need you to... No, I don't need you to do anything. As you try this door, this is the first of all these doors that there's resistance trying to open it. And just a quick look, and you can see that it looks like the lock has been broken. So in order to get this door open, you're going to need to make a strength check.
Can I assist?
Absolutely. So you can make that check with advantage.
Oh, and the advantage helps. It's a 22.
So you try the door, and it just doesn't... Excuse me. It just... At first, it's jammed. It's not moving. You see the lock is broken. And you sort of shoulder into it, and nothing happens. And as you shoulder into it again, Talmud sort of pushes against you with his own shoulder. And the two of you, just suddenly you hear this, and the door cracks open. And you see another room that is 40 feet by 40 feet. You see racks, rows and rows of empty weapon racks, and a dozen or more armor stands, also empty, that you realize that this room was once an armory. There's some debris littering the floor, but nothing really of value. There are 2 armor stands that have what looks to be very old and rusted armor, still sort of clinging to it. One of them, the armor plates, a couple of them have dropped off. Their leather straps, long since aged. That's what you can see from outside this room.
So do we want to go in, or do we want to continue on?
Well, if there's nothing worth taking, we should probably try and find something worth killing for your ear count.
I thought you dwarves liked not to leave any stone unturned as far as treasure goes.
I would have to agree with the paladin on this one, cousin. Maybe there's not... Maybe everything in this room wasn't left out in the open.
No. Then after you.
Talmud saunters into the room. I would like to search for secret doors.
All right,
I will help.
Give me an investigation check. So Talmud goes into the room. Griveth, you're coming in to help. Is anybody else going in, or are you guys staying out in the hall? What are you guys doing?
I'll go in.
Cantriel would stand at like the threshold area and literally just have the bow with an arrow notch, because after that last room, she's not exactly trusting of walking into the rooms.
What about Fig?
Are there any... Is this kind of the last room you said that we were
It's the
looking
last
at?
room in this hallway, yes. Before
Okay.
you get into this sort of open courtyard area where there's that fountain or pool rather, and there's a couple more doors in this courtyard area, but that's that area where there's 7 dead dwarves and a dozen or more dead orcs.
Okay. Yeah, Fig, I think would go in as well.
All right. So Talmud and Thorgarn, Talmud and Griveth, you're searching. What were you doing, Thorgarn? You're just in there. Are you also looking?
Yeah, I'll be looking as well.
Talmud and Thorgarn, you begin searching around, and you're just seeing empty racks, and you even see the wood on the racks, where it looks like whoever looted this place just, in some cases, just ripped weapons out of the rack without removing, like little swivel bars or anything. So there's pieces of splintered wood. It's very old. This place was looted long ago. And Griveth is sort of following behind you, Talmud, to help out. And Griveth, as you're helping Talmud look, and you're just searching around, you hear this creak sound, and there's a rush as one of the stands of armor, the armor actually comes off of the stand and lunges towards you clumsily as you hear and just misses you. And I need you to roll for initiative against animated armor. Let's see. All right. All right, what you got, Griveth?
11.
Cantriel.
18.
Big.
19.
Thorgarn.
9.
And Talmud.
22.
All right, here is your order. Talmud. Big. Cantriel. Armor. Griveth. And Thorgarn. Talmud, what are you going to do as this armor suddenly lunges toward and attempts to slam into Griveth? It's very
kind of
loud.
armor is it?
It's obnoxiously loud. What's that?
What kind of armor is it?
It's plate armor.
Okay, so he's going to produce Gerta this time. And brandishing her, he's going to get a pre-rolled a dirty 20 and then a 16 with his 2 attacks.
The 16 is going to miss, but the dirty 20 is going to hit.
Okay. So it will be bludgeoning to the tune of 11 points.
All right. It's a very loud ringing sound as you slam Gerta into the armor, and it sort of takes a shuffle step back as you hit it. Chat's calling this a blitzkrieg because you guys have more than quadrupled the number of rooms you normally clear. All right, Talmud, anything else? All right, Fig. There is what looks to be an empty suit of armor. You can actually see, because this thing is old and worn, where there would be, like, there's no hands. The gauntlets are missing. You can see between the elbow joints where the gorget is. You can see at the midsection. There's no the boots of this armor were actually almost fused from rust to the base of the stand, so it's moving as just obviously held together by magic.
So if this is dwarven plate mail, is this thing only like 4.5 feet tall?
Sure.
So you see Fig. he takes out some of like this odd looking little vial from his arm, and it's filled with this black, almost oily type liquid, and he throws it down at where this armor is approaching them, and immediately, as soon as the glass shatters, this oil just expands and covers the floor, and he's going to cast Grease, targeting it so that it doesn't affect, hopefully, his companions.
What is the area of ground that is affected by grease?
10-foot square.
Given the size of this room, let's see. And you guys there's basically racks in the middle of this room. I'm going to say that you decide, Griveth or Talmud, which one is going to be caught in the effect of this. One of them is going to be caught in the effect with the armor.
Probably Griveth.
Hey, we all know Griveth likes to get all
oiled up. He does like getting greased up, yeah.
He likes getting all greased up, so you're just doing him a favor.
Yeah, you can use it for later.
All right, now, so is this when it makes its move that it needs to make a dexterity?
As soon as it appears, it must make a dexterity saving throw.
So Griveth and the armor are making dex saves. That's going to be a 12 for the armor.
Okay, it does not pass, so it falls prone.
There's a tremendously loud clatter as metal plate armor collapses to the floor. How about you, Griveth? Do you succeed?
Yeah, I got a 17.
All right, Griveth manages to stay on his feet. And is that it, Fig? All right, Cantriel.
All right, Cantriel would do a big sign. She looked over to her mother's elf shadow. All right, looks like we better help take care of things. And she'll take the bow she's had the bow drawn, the arrow primed to go. Now, the one that's prone near Griveth, do I get the advantage on that since it's prone?
I don't believe so because it's ranged.
Okay. So I'm trying to figure out. I don't remember.
You know what? A prone creature, the creature has disadvantage.
Usually ranged, a prone creature has a disadvantage on to hit it. If you're next to it in melee, you have
melee is advantage.
Yeah.
Ranged is disadvantage. So it's just the one armor.
Okay.
So yeah, you will be disadvantaged on your attack.
That's what I was trying to figure out. Okay, so I will try to shoot the prone one with my arrow, and that's not going to happen. I don't think with an 11.
No.
No.
There's this moment where this arrow sort of hits the greased floor near the armor and kind of ricochets up and clatters against the empty weapon racks next to you, Talmud.
Okay, and then there's the other one, right?
There's only one.
There's only the one. Okay, so then Mom would go over to the prone
There
one.
were two suits of armor on racks, but only one of them actually attacked.
Okay, that's what it is. That's why I have two in my head. So then Mom would go over and do strength drain to the prone armor.
All right.
Yes, does that make sense?
She's going to need to make a dex save as she enters the greased area.
Okay. So she gets a 15.
What's your save, Fig? Your save DC?
16.
Okay.
So the shadow fails with a 15.
Doesn't do it. Okay.
Is knocked prone, but is not prone next to the creature, so I will still allow her to attempt the strength drain.
Okay, well, let's see what happens with that then. She gets a mathing. Hold on, 13.
I imagine it's just too greased up, and both your Shadow Mother and the armor are sort of caught in this grease and just can't quite make the connection. She, like every time she gets her hands on it, it sort of slides out of the way or shifts out of the way.
Okay.
So she's unable to succeed at that. The armor is going to rise to its feet, which I think it needs to make a dex check to see if it can do that.
Yeah, if
Wow.
it gets up, it has to make a dex check to see if it just falls back down
The
again.
armor starts to climb to its feet and just fails. It presses its foot stumps against the edge of the weapon rack, and it makes a lunge, and it's going to be at disadvantage to Griveth. That is going to be a 10. I think every time I've tried to hit you with something, Griveth, it's been a 10. And it's going to lunge a second time at the Shadow Elf. Wow, I rolled a 3 and a 4. So I don't think a 7 is going to hit. So it's basically doing this thing where it's just sort of lunging, sliding on the grease, and it just cannot get... It can't do anything. This is one of the stranger combats I've described. Griveth, you're up. The
Sounds like a
armor
frat
is
party.
writhing around at your feet, all greased up and ready for you.
Okay, so did we break the door getting in here?
You busted the door open. Yes.
I was gonna say let's run, but let's just get out of here. But yeah, we're kind of screwed, aren't we? Jeez. So if I melee attack this thing, I got to make another save, right?
I think I'm just going to double check here. Let's see. Each creature standing in the area makes a dexterity saving throw. A creature that enters the area or ends its turn there must make a saving throw. So no. You can make your attack just fine. If you're still in the greased area at the end of your turn, then you will need to make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay, can I make the attack from out of the greased area?
You will move outside of range if you do that, unless you use a ranged weapon.
Okay. So I can make the attack without making the roll? The grease roll?
Correct. Yes,
Okay,
and your
just wanna
attacks
make
will
sure I
have
got that.
advantage because it's prone.
Okay, cool. So Griveth has a momentary fantasy as he sees this woman that looks like Cantriel rolling around in Greece with this armored and then he snaps out of it and comes back to reality. Okay, that's 26. That's a hit. So shoot. Okay, that's 14 points of damage.
All right, 14. So
Max.
wait,
Again.
hold on. 14. Make it. Okay.
17. Is that a hit?
17 just misses.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's it for me.
All right.
Sir Bradford doesn't do anything on that, right?
No, it's another
Okay.
construct.
Okay, cool.
Thorgarn.
All right, so I have to get into the area to hit this thing, right?
Yes.
So that's a dexterity save.
Thorgarn, I hope you're nimble on your feet.
Yes, as you enter the area, you have to make the dex save.
This is not a good save for me. That is a 17.
That is, I believe, a success.
All right, and it's still on the ground?
Yes, it is still prone.
First attack is a 22.
That is a hit.
Second attack is a 17. So it's going to miss, right? Okay.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Second attack is a 17.
Yes, that is a miss.
All right. So then only the first attack hits. 2 attacks with advantage that miss. That stinks. That's going to be 8 damage with the Warhammer.
Thorgarn. That is exactly what you needed. How do you finish this animated armor?
So I imagine, it's still trying to get up. So I bring the Warhammer straight into its face, and the helmet just crumples in and collapses into the actual breastplate, and then the whole thing just kind of falls apart.
Yeah, there's a clattering sound as the armor falls apart all around. And you are out of combat. Yeah, this armor was a bit rusty and worn, so not nearly as strong as the rug. So, out of combat. Other than the empty racks you guys found in this armor, you found nothing, no hidden doors or anything in this room.
I imagine that there's a little bit of, comedic movement trying to get out of the greased area before we actually manage to do any more searching or fleeing the room. So I'm just envisioning whatever hilarity that you want to inspire your evening. Just throwing that out there.
Sorry, I'm having a display issue. I didn't hear the last thing you said.
Oh, basically, I was just basically giving everyone carte blanche to imagine whatever hilarity with the characters that are close enough to the grease and just trying to get out of the area. Whatever makes your evening that much more amusing or magical, yeah, that's what happens.
Fig, do you let the people struggle and to rise from this and get through this grease, or do you dispel it?
So I think that Fig watches for a while, and then you hear this odd noise coming from Fig that you've never ever heard before. It sounds like the whirring of motors, and after a while you realize that Fig is laughing. Like, that is, you've never heard it, and I don't think Fig has ever done it, but Fig just begins to laugh.
That's awesome. Eventually, everybody's able to get up and get out. Does anybody say anything to Fig when you realize that he is laughing?
So, first and foremost, is all of the grease, does all of it go away when the spell ends? Or if there's grease on someone, does it stay?
I think it would go away.
Okay. So as long as it goes away, yeah, then all is good. But if it stayed, then it's like there's going to be grease in my beard for a long time. And that could be problematic.
No, I think it would. I think it would go away since it was magically conjured. It would disappear.
So find that funny, did you?
Your limbs are quite comical, yes.
He's not wrong. It's quite a sight.
Is that what that noise was? That was laughter?
I believe so. Yes.
Well, I didn't know you were built with a sense of humor.
Well, he's got a good one.
It seems like it.
So, should we keep that around for when we need some extra laughter? Is that what you're saying?
He looks at Griveth. Well, I don't think supplemental grease is going to hurt anyone.
Some seem to enjoy it more than others, that's for sure.
I think maybe we should press on now. It's getting awfully uncomfortable in this room.
Yes, let's move on. Les.
Just gonna point this out there. I was saying we should move on. It was you two who wanted to go in. So, yeah.
Cantriel's standing in the doorway just nodding her head like, yup.
And look what fun we would have missed if we had just skipped on past the door.
Yeah.
Yep.
You two are way too sullen for this adventuring business.
Well, if the grease monkeys are ready, let's get going.
We have enough laughter from the toy.
As
He's
you begin
back at it again.
as you guys get
Making friends.
as you guys gather yourself and start to move out of this room, you're directly adjacent to this large courtyard area where there's all the orc and dwarven skeletons. There's 2 doors on the easternmost wall, and Cantriel, you can now see that there's a door on the southern wall, and you actually hear, as you come out of the room, from that door on the southern wall, you hear a sound of what definitely sounds like somebody crying.
Thorgarn, you said you heard crying before, right?
Oh, yes.
She'll tap her ear. I'm starting to pick up something too. Over behind the door.
At this point, if everybody now listens, you can all hear the sound of crying coming from that door.
Well, I'm sure that it's someone that's either lost or needs help.
Or luring us to our doom?
I don't know.
People tend to make that noise when they are very upset.
It could be another ghost.
That's true too. So I'll approach the door.
All right.
That kind of dwarf.
Are you going to open the door?
Yeah, I mean, if nothing like obviously jumps.
Yeah, I open the door.
if nothing jumps out at me and screams like, "Hey, this is obviously a trap."
This is where we need the Wilhelm scream.
We are cousins.
Investigation +0, like perception +1.
You open the door and you see a room that looks like it was once a library or a study. Bookshelves stand against the walls. Piles of books rest on a reading table in the middle of the room, and the air reeks of moldy paper. You can see immediately that there is a door in the southeastern corner and on the southern wall of this room. You also see that as soon as the door opens, the source of the crying, a young woman who looks to be somewhere in her 20s to 30s, human, very messy, unkempt hair, tattered clothing, tear-streaked face with wide eyes. As the door opens, she looks up and immediately scuttles into the corner. No, please don't hurt me. Please don't.
But she's alive, not a ghost, right?
She's very... You see she knocks some books askew. She seems to be corporeal.
I don't believe it. So I'm like, divine sense.
Lass, we're not here to hurt you.
What's the range on your divine sense?
Pretty far, I think.
60 feet?
Yeah, 60 feet.
You catch some faint traces beyond the walls, like to the very limit. Just very subtle faint traces of undeath, but nothing from this woman.
All right.
Oh, look, Griveth, a damsel in distress. Right there.
She's pressed up against the wall, shielding her face. No, don't kill me. He's gonna kill me. He's gonna kill me. He's gonna kill me.
I'll put the weapons, stow them, and I'll walk, hands out. Last, calm down. We're not here to hurt you.
Please don't kill me.
Cantriel will just start walking past them, and she'll go up to the girl and kneel down. Dear girl, we're not going to hurt you.
Make a persuasion check.
Okay. I mean, good grief, I am the bard. With a 19.
She starts to open her eyes, kind of pulling her hands down a bit. Who are you?
Well, we've been nicknamed the Dawnbringers, but I personally am Cantriel.
How did you get here? He's gonna kill me.
Okay, let's start with who the he is.
It's a wizard. He's an evil wizard.
They usually are. What's his name?
He's never told me his name.
So nameless evil wizard is out to get you. All right.
He's kept me here.
Quest. Nameless evil wizard.
Cantriel will turn and go, shh. You're in a library. Be quiet.
How are you here? Who are you?
We came down through the back way.
Through the back way?
Yes.
I don't know what that means.
Don't worry, dear. I'll explain it to you later. But what is your name?
My name is Elizabeth.
Does it come with a last name?
I've been down here for so long.
Well, is this wizard, is he orc? Is he something else?
Did orcs take you? Are there any damn orcs in here?
I've only seen the wizard. He's tall. He's old. He's got skin of grayish green and big teeth that stick up from his mouth.
He sounds a little orcish to me, then, yes.
He curses at me and he hits me and he keeps me in here.
So
Every day he tells me he's going to kill me. I thought it was him.
Did he say why?
No, he's never told me why. He just keeps me here. Please. Please kill this wizard. Kill him before he can kill me.
Where are you from, lass?
I'm from a town south of the mountain. It's called Blazingdale.
Do I recognize her at all, being from Blazingdale?
Blazingdale's a pretty good sized town. You
Fair.
could try. I'd say just give me a history check.
Okay. No, that's a 4.
No, you don't recognize her. It's
a big town.
It's much smaller now with 122 people dead.
From her appearance, she has been down here for quite some time. Please.
Have no fear, lass. We will protect you.
How?
No harm shall come to you.
He's a powerful wizard.
I'm powerful in my own right.
So
I swear to you, I will protect you. No harm shall come to you.
Where might we find this evil wizard?
He roams these halls, and I don't think he stays on this level, though.
How often does he come in here to check on you?
I don't know how much time has passed. It's days,
What?
hours,
What?
weeks, but sometimes he goes long stretches without coming.
What month and day were you taken?
I don't even know. I've been down here for so long.
What's the last date you remember?
All right, you caught me off guard because I can't remember the Therulian calendar, but
Don't press the girl. Don't press the girl.
She
She's
doesn't
upset.
know. All she tells you a month that would put it at least 2 months prior to today's date.
Well, my dear, a wizard is something that we hopefully should be able to help you out with.
She is looking past you. She's looking to Griveth. Can you really keep me safe?
Oh, yes, I can, girl. Come here.
You'll protect me.
Yes.
All of you, you and your friends.
Hi.
Griveth, make me a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. Oh, damn it. I didn't roll so good. Hold on, let me check that. Sorry. Oh, that's not too bad. Okay, so 13.
You are completely smitten with this young woman. You see through the tear-stained face. You see through the fact that she is dirty and is worn. You see the beauty that she most likely has when she is cleaned up.
Her beautiful soul.
She's just looking at you with these large, wet eyes from crying. Please, you seem so strong.
Oh, girl, it's okay. I shall take care of you. Nothing shall harm you. They all fear me.
You shall be my champion
Yes.
and destroy the wizard.
Yes.
Please, take my favor.
Yes.
And she leans in to kiss you.
Uh-oh.
I need a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, crap.
Reroll.
I got a 9.
You can re-roll.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to use one of my inspiration and reroll.
Okay.
Oh, dang it. I got worse. I got a 6.
Okay. She leans up on her tippy toes. And all of you, what you see is a young woman who seems to just latch on to the one who is making himself appear as the strongest person here. And the most heroic one. And I'm going to switch over to the dice cam. So you can see.
So my detector wouldn't detect if she's evil, or I mean undead or fiend or anything like that. Is she not a fiend?
Oh, you know what? Let me see. So that was, you were detecting the...
Yeah, my divine sense. I can detect celestial, fiend, or undead within 60.
Let me check something. I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
And there's a specific reason for that.
Okay.
So I'm going to roll 5d10. That is a 10, 13, 14, 17, 26. As she kisses you, Griveth, you take 26 points of necrotic damage. Or psychic damage, sorry. Psychic damage. And your maximum hit points are reduced by 26 points.
Holy monkey.
And as she kisses Griveth, you see Griveth sort of lean into the embrace. And then you see as Griveth's eyes grow wide and his skin grows pale. You see as I imagine Sir Bradford's honor drops from his hand, clatters to the ground. Griveth's skin, you see almost like from the mouth, kind of going back. You see, oh, I realized I'm on the, here. You see as the veins appear black away from his mouth through his face, and you can hear, though her lips are pressed firmly against Griveth's, you hear him. And that is where we are going to end tonight's session. And so real quick, the reason I ruled that you would not be able to detect has to do with some of the wording within the description. And in a changed form, obviously this is all meta knowledge, but in a changed form, this creature does not have the fiend characteristic. So that is where we are going to end this session.
Well, damn.
I was so hoping you guys were going to get to this room before the end. You guys blazed through rooms. I mean, yeah, we kind of hand waved some of the rooms because literally there's like so many rooms in this level that are basically the same thing.
Well, that's like, what, 8 or 9 rooms that we got into tonight? And that's, miles above everything we've ever done.
That's unheard of.
Yeah, so basically, let me go, here, I'll go to the map screen, and I'll show you what you've kind of gone through. So you guys started here in this area, and you went this way.
So 1, 2, 3.
You cleared those 3, 4, 5, 4 rooms at the top. This is the room with the rug in it, that you fought the rug. And then the next room was another larger room that was a living quarters. And then the armory there, and then you guys are now in this library here.
Well, you got to count the room with the all the skeletons and stuff.
Yeah, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and even counting this first area, that's 10 rooms you guys went through.
Damn, double digits.
That's a record for us.
Yep, and
I mean, based on that math, we're gonna have like 3 or 4 sessions where we don't leave a room again.
I don't know exactly what next week's session will be called, but it will definitely have the word kiss in it. And just a word of reminder, first of all, thank you to everybody who has tuned in. Thank you to, as I said, to What You're Looking At, who at the top of the stream resubscribed for 15 months in a row. Erasmas dropped some gold into the treasury early on with some bits. Dice on Ice resubscribed for 13 months in a row. And Devin TV BTW and Elixia Nixel, I think, both followed the channel as well. So thank you for that. We appreciate everybody who participates in the chat, hangs out with us, watches the game, regardless of what. We're just happy to have you here and a part of our games each Thursday. And of course, a huge thank you, as always, to Scotty, Megan, Ted, Jeremy, and V for just putting so much into these characters. We will be returning next week, and then we are going to have a hiatus of a week. Actually, I believe we are not. Correct me if I'm wrong, but are you out next week, Megan? Okay, so Megan is not going to be with us next week. But we are going to be off for at least a week after that, because the week after that will be the Jasper's Game Week charity stream taking place all week. So I would encourage you to follow the channel. Make sure you've hit that little notification thing so you can see when we go live each day for the Jasper's Game Week streams. Yeah, so we'll see you all hopefully back here next week. Remember that Mini Terrain Domain has, on Sunday nights we have our Cult of Personality Tomb of Annihilation campaign, and on Monday nights we have our All That Glitters Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign. Be sure to check out in the information by typing each of these persons' names. You will find out all the links to their social medias, and over on the YouTube it'll be down in the information bar. I can be found every other Tuesday over on Dice on Ice playing in Curse of Strahd as, now in canon, Talmud's distant cousin, Eli Lancaster. And once a month you can find me and V over on Nerdarchy playing in a RPG Crate game. And once a month, just last night, be sure to head over to Erasmus Expeditions for just a phenomenal, stellar, heavy RP in Jeremy's homebrew world of Momentum as we play Whispers and Fragments. And maybe one day I can say where you can find me as I play in a DM Scotty game sometime. Well, I have here on the channel, actually. If you check out on YouTube, you can see the VOD of our creepy ICRPG game in the desert that Scotty ran for us. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We are always happy to have you here. We're going to go ahead. We're going to get out of here, and we're going to end the stream the same way we end every stream. And you can say it with me if you want.